Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 2. Now let's start the fanfic. Team 7 was in front of the Hokage in his office. They had brought Zabuza and Haku with them, to see if they could become Leaf Ninja. So why do you two want to become Ninja of the Leaf? Sandame asked. We no longer wish to run from Hunter Ninja. If we become ninja here, they will leave us alone as Mist is still afraid of Leaf from the last ninja war. Zabuza said. Sandame thought for a moment before speaking. Well, I guess I could do that, but you will of course be doing D-rank missions for the first month, to prove your loyalty. That is fine. Okay then, that is settled. Now Kakashi, from your mission report you gave me, you said that Zabuza was definitely a Junin and weren't sure about Haku. Yes, Sandame. Well, what would you say your skill level is, Haku? Sandame decided to ask Haku herself. I would say I am Junin in ninjutsu and genjutsu, but I am very bad in taijutsu. So Junin it is then, you just might have to have a couple lessons with Guy. The rest of them snickered, even Zabuza, for he had met Guy before and knew how loony he is sometimes. Guy? Haku asked again, confused because of the laughing. He is some big dude that wears a tight green jumpsuit and has a bowl cut and big eyebrows. You can't miss him. You might see him running around with his clone, I mean Student Lee. I see then, I will go find him during my free time. Haku said. Well, both of you now have Junin status, everything is now settled. Here are your headbands, Sandame said as he pulled two out of his desk. You are all free to go except for you, Kakashi, Sandame said. Ino, Zabuza, Sasuke and Haku all chorused, yes Hokage-sama. Naruto and Draco both replied with, later Gramps. Zabuza and Haku looked at them crazy, for they just openly insulted the Hokage. Don't worry, you will get used to it. Those two have respect for only a few people, and Sandame is included in there. Sasuke said, informing them of Naruto's and Draco's behavior. Actually, that is what they say when they are being respectful. When they aren't, they say, Hokage, I don't get those two, Ino whined. But you like Blondie over there, Zabuza said. Shut up, Ino said as she threw a kunai at Zabuza, who deflected it with his sword. So where is the best place to eat? Zabuza asked. No, don't say anything about food. Sasuke and Ino tried to stop Zabuza, but it was too late. Naruto and Draco had turned around and were looking back at them evilly. Isaraku ramen, they both screamed out and dashed off to their favorite ramen stand. Look what you guys did, Sasuke whined. Next time don't even say anything about food, those two will go to Ichiraku anytime. They have great food, but it gets boring after every meal eating there, Ino complained. Well, let's go. There is no stopping them now, they are probably already done 2 bowls. Sasuke said as he started walking. No way. 2 bowls already. Haku said, a little excitement in her voice. Yay. They eat really, really fast, Ino called as she too started to walk to the ramen stand. Ichiraku ramen. The seating arrangement at Ichiraku was Ino, Naruto, Draco, Sasuke, Haku, Zabuza. Naruto and Draco were at the one side because it is closer to the kitchen. So Naruto, where did you and Draco learn to use those swords? You both use a style I have never seen before, and I have seen almost all of the styles. And the ones I have not seen I have read or heard about, Zabuza said, confused because they knew a style he didn't. Well, you would have to ask our sensei, Naruto said, returning to his ramen. Yay, I think he is coming here. What? When and why didn't you say something earlier? Zabuza said, getting a little pissed. Stop whining, he's here. A bolt of lightning struck outside and Robert walked out and took the seat next to Ino. The lightning strike had caused Haku and Zabuza to fall out of their seats. Sasuke and Ino just flinched for a second before returning to their food. Naruto and Draco never noticed it. So how was the mission? Robert asked, ordering his food. Easy. We just had to beat two swordsmen of the mist. One of them weak guys is over there, Naruto said, not even looking up from his ramen. You mean the one with the sword? Yay. He isn't that tough, he just tries to look intimidating. Heck, I intimidated him when he saw my true form. Yay. Draco, you are a lot different than you are now. Yep. Very mysterious. Well, anyways, you guys have enough time to do one more mission before the Chunin exams. Do you guys want to take it? Of course, Naruto said as he jumped up. Well, the only problem is Kakashi has his own mission and you have no leader, and before you ask, no, I am not going to be there. Robert said as he ate his food. Well then, who is going to lead us? Please don't say Naruto, Sasuke pleaded. Of course not, he is strong but still a little thick-headed. Well then who? Ino asked. Well, Sandaime said to have a spar with the guy with the big sword walking around the village, Robert said in a mocking tone to annoy Zabuza. Oh, you mean Zabuza? He's not that strong really, Naruto said. What brat? Zabuza said, standing up and drawing his sword. Yay. Naruto had him down, and then finished him with the dance. Well, Draco, that move is almost unstoppable, and only you and Ino will be able to counter it, Robert pointed out. Oh yay. I am still going to stand a chance against you, Draco said as he danced around. Oh well, I guess I will have to spar Zabuza later and see how strong he is. Let's go right now. I don't even know you and you are trying to piss me off. Zabuza, I don't think you should get mad at him. It's not like you have a chance, Naruto said, trying to calm him down. I will be at Training Ground 7, meet me there, Zabuza said as he walked away. Haku leaned close to Sasuke. Do you think Zabuza has a chance? No, this guy is stronger than any Kage, including the Yondaime of Konoha. Haku sported a look of confusion. I thought the Kage were the most powerful ninja in their village. Haku asked back. They are. But did you see any headband on him? Ino said. No. You are right. Can we go watch Zabuza get his kick now? Draco pleaded. Sure, I am almost done. I will meet you there. I still got one more bowl to go, Robert said as he began eating his last bowl. Quick, maybe we can beat him this time, Draco said as he jumped off Naruto's shoulder onto Robert's and then took off. Naruto got up and ran to catch up to Draco. What are they doing now? Haku asked. Anytime their sensei is going to meet them at a training ground, he always gives them a head start, although it never matters. And how is that? Their sensei over there is faster than lightning, Sasuke said, disappointed that he didn't have a special sensei. Well, let's go. I know a shortcut through the city that will get us to the training area quicker. Sasuke said as he dashed off quickly, followed by Ino and Haku. Ino, Sasuke and Haku arrived first to see Zabuza swinging his sword around. Haku saw Naruto and Draco sprinting towards them, kicking up a trail of dust. I don't see their sensei anywhere. How is he going to win? They are almost here. Draco and Naruto were now about 5 feet from the rest of the group when a bolt of lightning struck down in front of them, revealing Robert. Naruto and Draco both ran into him and fell down. You almost had me. That was a good idea to snatch my wallet to slow me down, Robert said as he retrieved his wallet from Draco. Damn it. Nothing we do ever stops him, Draco pouted. Well, he is. You know who for being the strongest, you know, Ino said. So we should be able to beat him in a race when we have like a 5-minute head start, Naruto said back. Sore losers, Ino said as she bonked both of them on their heads. Well, shall we get started then, Zabuza? Robert asked as he stood across from Zabuza with his arms crossed. Fine, let's go, Zabuza said as he charged him with his sword drawn and held out to his side. He swung violently at Robert. To Zabuza, Haku and Sasuke it looked like he had chopped him in half. But to Naruto, Draco and Ino, they knew that Robert had just moved so fast that it looked like he never moved at all. When Zabuza recovered from his first swing, he brought his leg around, aimed at his head. Robert ducked under it and kept his arms crossed. "Will you fight me like a man? Damn it," Zabuza yelled. "When I need to, I will draw my swords, but I would rather not do that. I don't have to. You aren't ready for it yet." Robert mocked. "That's it," Zabuza yelled back. "Water clone," he called as 5 clones appeared. "Chain lightning," Robert said and raised his hand. A bolt of lightning shot out and hit all 5 clones and then Zabuza, making him shudder from the lightning running through his body. "Fine then. I will have to use my sword, I guess." Zabuza took off again and punched at Robert's face. Robert tilted his head to the side, avoiding the punch. Zabuza smirked and brought his sword around, knowing that he would be forced to draw one of his swords now. Robert moved quickly and drew the Sword of Earth. The sword was a bluish-green that seemed to swirl. It clashed against Zabuza's and it stopped it from moving completely. Zabuza had a look of shock on his face as he realized whom he was fighting. Zabuza quickly lowered his weapons and looked at Robert's other 2 swords at his back. "I am sorry, Geikage-sama," Zabuza said as he bowed down. "No problem. You knew who I was the whole time, you just wanted to know my strength." How did you know?" Zabuza asked, confused that he had been found out. "Once I entered the ramen stand, you eyed my swords and then gave off a shudder. That is signs of knowing something, scary or happy." "You aren't the Geikage for nothing," Zabuza said, smirking. "That I am not. So you wanted to know if I was qualified for to lead the mission?" "Yay. And yes, you are. It is a simple mission to escort somebody back to the grass village, and there may be enemy ninja but should just be low-level ones looking for her," Robert said, recalling from memory. "So we gotta get somebody back to the grass village, and may meet enemy ninjas," Naruto said, translating into easier terms. "Alright, a better mission. Geikage," Ino started to ask. "Just call me Robert." "Okay, Robert. What rank is it?" "Glad you asked. It is a B rank mission." "Then it will be easy," Naruto called. "Well, there is also another mission. If you are to encounter an older man with long white hair and 2 red marks under his eyes, and also a demon headband, he may be with a toad." "Anything else?" "Yay, he is a pervert." "You mean Jiraiya of the Sannin?" Zabuza asked. "Yay. You are also looking for Tsunade as well. If you see them, you are to give them this letter from the Sandaime. Basically, it is asking them to come back to Konoha, and no, you are not allowed to read them." "Damn. Well, you better get going. The Chunin exams are in 2 months, so you might want to train too," Robert replied. "Wait, where are you going now?" "I am going on a mission with Jake to a country on diplomatic business as well as a recon mission." "You mean the creepy guy from the basement?" Ino asked, shuddering because she remembered the experiences going to the basement. "Yay, him. Oh, sensei, did you get my letter?" Naruto asked, forgetting about it. "Oh yay. I almost forgot," Robert said as he reached within his armor and withdrew a scroll. He did a blood summoning and out popped 2 packages wrapped in a blue cloth. Sasuke and Ino looked over and figured it was their new weapons. "Sasuke, come get yours." Sasuke walked up and took his, and unwrapped it. It was short sword, probably only 2 feet long with a 6-inch blade. The handle was a dark red and the blade was a forest green. "This blade, Sasuke, feeds on you emotions, it can create bursts of wind from it, and the sheath itself is special. You can pull the blade right through it and it will not cut the sheath, thus making the draw time faster." Sasuke took the sword and placed it on his back. "Ino, I would say that your weapon is the strongest one I have seen except for mine," Robert said as he handed her the bow. Ino unwrapped it and found a 4-foot bow that was a warm yellow color. It had metal blades on each tip and was extremely flexible. With this you can probably reach up to about 600 feet. The quiver is a special one. It is an endless quiver, never running out of arrows. You can also add water affinity to the bow and shoot water arrows that will sting or slice. Whoa, nice weapon there, Ino. But that is not the best part. The bow has taken oven heavenly properties, meaning anything evil that comes into contact with it or an arrow will be hurt 10 times more than a regular arrow. Whoa, thank you so much, Ino said as she too put the quiver on her back and slung the bow over her shoulder. Glad I could help, but I must be going. I will see you guys later. Farewell, Robert said as he disappeared in a bolt of lightning. I can't wait till he teaches us that, Naruto whined. Well, come on brats, let's go see the Hokage, Zabuza said as he walked off. Hokage's office. Hokage-sama, I didn't think that I was getting any missions outside of the village. Zabuza teased. Well, Team 7 needed a mission and Kakashi was out on his, and Gaikage-sama suggested you and that you are trustworthy. Really now? He has heard of me? Zabuza asked. Almost everyone has heard of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, Sandame replied. I guess you are right. Well, anyway, you are to protect Miss Kaide Suzuki. Sandame motioned to the Anbu by the door and he left the room and re-entered followed by the client. A young woman who looked to be in her early 20s walked into the office. She had long red hair that went past her shoulders, and bangs. She was wearing a blue kimono with red flowers. She was carrying a long brown box that was made of mahogany wood that had elaborate decorations. Everyone was guessing it carried a sword. These are the ninja that are going to be escorting me to my village. Kaide asked. Yes, they are qualified for the job. Well, the scary guy with the sword looks like a ninja, but the 3 kids. They are the top genin of their class, and you will find that 2 of them are very unpredictable, Sandame said with a smile. Well, I guess that they will do, the big guy should be enough. Draco was about to say something but was stopped by Naruto who whispered something in his ear. Draco smiled with his fangs sticking through and laid back down on Naruto's shoulder. Everyone eyed them suspiciously. Well, we have not introduced ourselves. My name is Zabuza Momochi, former swordsman of the mist, Zabuza said bowing. Sasuke Uchiha, and he bowed too. Ino Yamanaka, and Ino bowed as well. Naruto Uzumaki, and my pet Draco, Naruto said standing there and pointed at Draco on his shoulder. Haku, however, I will not be going on the mission. Ino and Sasuke were wondering what they had planned because Draco never lets Naruto get away with calling him his pet. Well, team, meet at the main gate tomorrow at 9 o'clock, Zabuza said as Kaide and the Anbu left for her hotel. Haku turned to Sandame. Hokage-sama, is there somewhere we could stay for now? Well, let me see, Sandame said as he picked up a folder of the corner of his desk. Don't bother, you guys can come with me, my place is plenty big enough, Naruto said. Are you sure, brat? I would think that your house if full of ramen. Zabuza said. Ino and Sasuke slapped their foreheads again. It is, Ino whined out. You know what? Naruto, you are coming with me. We need to get some real food in your house. Ramen is good and all but not for every meal, Ino said as she dragged them out of the office. Guess I am showing you guys the house, Draco said as he began to fly out the door. CYA Gramps. The Hokage chuckled and returned to his paperwork. On the way to Naruto and Draco's house. Sasuke went home and Ino took Naruto shopping. Draco, Haku and Zabuza were going to their house. So is there enough room for us at this place? Haku asked. Yay. We could fit 30 comfortably. Wow, you guys have a mansion. Zabuza said as he eyed the house. Haku saw the hot springs and jumped in the air silently. You could say that, Naruto inherited from his pops and stuff. So I will show you around. Draco said as he led them into the house. Mine and Draco's room are on the top and Ino has one up there as well for when she stays over. So any room on the second floor you two want is yours, kitchen and living room on the first floor and bathrooms in every room. And if you see anything with an Uzumaki spiral on it, don't try to go in, for only Naruto can open it. Oh, and if you see some guy with brown hair and green armor walking around, that is fine, he is the guardian of the house or something like that, never really asked. He will probably try and sneak up on you, so watch out, and me and Naruto have tried but never been able to touch him. Just tell him you are now living here. Wow, you are finally done talking, Zabuza said. Haha. Yay, now I am taking a nap. CYA, and Draco flew up the stairs to his room. Well, I guess we found a place to stay. Hey Haku, Zabuza said, looking at the rooms. Yes, this is great, we will finally have a good life, Haku said as she found a room she liked. I am going to take this one, Zabuza, Haku said as she rushed inside. Zabuza ran in and was amazed. In the corner of the room was a small hot spring bath in a corner of the room. There was a large bed on the other wall and a dresser that could hold 3 people's clothes. There was a walk-in closet and a bathroom. Ah, well, you deserve it, Haku, Zabuza said, smiling as he walked out to find a room for himself. Zabuza walked down the hallway to check out the other 2 rooms at the end of the hall. He stopped walking suddenly when he felt the flat edge of a blade against his throat and another blade against his back. May I ask why you are in this house? Jake asked. Yay. Naruto invited myself and Haku to live here with him. We came back from Wave Country and are new ninja of the leaf. Zabuza said, terrified, as he had never sensed anything until the blades were against him. And how do I know that you are telling the truth? Jake asked. I have a leaf headband and Draco is upstairs, you can ask him, Zabuza spat out. He. Well, that was fun, it is good to still be the strongest in the house, Jake said as he withdrew his blades, which turned out to be short swords, back to their sheaths. I know all about you and Haku, I was there the whole time. Really, where? Zabuza asked. I was walking right behind you. So you really are a master of stealth, Zabuza said. Yes, I rival the Geikage in this department, Jake said, smiling. So you are strong too, Zabuza shot back at him. Yes, but how strong I am not telling you, Jake said and disappeared into thin air. Creepy bastard. Zabuza went back to looking for a room until he found one with antiques, weapons on the walls, and a simple bed and dresser. Zabuza put his stuff down and went out back to the hot springs. With Ino and Naruto. Ino and Naruto were holding hands walking down a street in the market area, looking for a big place to shop. They found a large grocery store and went inside. Ino was walking in front of Naruto, who was pushing an empty cart. Behind him were 2 clones, each pushing an overflowing cart. Are we almost done yet, Ino? Naruto whined. Yes, almost, just got to get the vegetables. Yay. Naruto grumbled. Ino went through and got all kinds of vegetables and filled the 3rd cart. They went to check out and Naruto paid for everything and created 4 more clones to take the stuff back to the house. Ino wanted to walk around the city and go see her parents before she leaves again. Another road in Konoha. Ino and Naruto were once again walking through the village holding hands. Most of the villagers still gave Naruto glares for being the vessel of Kyuubi. Naruto and Ino just ignored them and kept walking, enjoying the day. So Ino, want to see your parents now? Yay. Let's go do that. So they were on their way again, this time to Ino's house. Naruto was happy and didn't think that he could have a better time. Hey brat, you think I could come out now? Hey, Kyuubi, where have you been? Taking a nap? Now let me out, I am cramped in here. Fine, I'm going. Naruto went through the short list of hand seals and finished. Summoning Jutsu. Kyuubi. A small puff of smoke and the 2-tailed Kyuubi walked out, stretching and cracking all his joints. Ah, that feels better. Nice long nap. You slept for a couple days, Ino said. Hee hee. Yay, I know I was tired, and besides the brat wasn't doing anything. Shut up and get on, we are going, Naruto said as he and Ino began to walk and Kyuubi jumped up on Naruto's shoulder. They continued on their way to Ino's house when they met Team 8. Hey forehead, still hang around with that loser Naruto, Sakura said, insulting them both. At this, Kyuubi picked his head up and looked around, hoping for some action. Hi to you too, Sakura, Ino replied back. Naruto walked to Shugi and Shikamaru. How are you guys? We're good, nothing really happening except some boring D ranks, you. Hey, D ranks too, but we also had a C class turn A class, and now we are getting a B class. Wow, you guys must be good, then, Shugi said while still enjoying his chips. Yay, we are elite, Naruto replied, not liking to brag. Hey, so where are you off to now? Grass country. We are escorting someone back to their village. Well, we are just walking around. Asuma sensei is off on a mission, Shikamaru complained. Well, I got an idea. How about you guys come over to my house tonight? Naruto suggested. What will be there? Shikamaru asked. Well, I'm sure that old Kyuubi here would like to play you in Shugi, and Shugi, me and Draco are having a ramen eating contest if you want to join. We will be there, Shugi and Shikamaru said. Alright, I'll see you there. See you tonight, Naruto. Come on, Sakura, Shugi said as he picked her up and walked off. Well, that was interesting, Naruto said. Yay, we haven't seen them in a while, and we got the Chunin exams coming up. Hey brat, that kid, he was a Nara, right? Yay, what of it? I just remember that before I attacked Konoha, I ran into a ninja who I think was Nara, but he was able to stop me with his shadow possession jutsu. Wow, he must have been strong then to trap you. Yay, and the weird thing was that he looked like that kid, just older. So you met some ninja that trapped you and he looked like Shikamaru. Yay, that, and he asked me to protect a scroll for him too. Oh, so you want to give Shikamaru that scroll? Yay, I guess tonight. I think his name was Shikazu or something. Okay, well, we are here guys, Ino said as she walked up to her door and knocked. Inoichi and Ino's mom answered the door. Ah, Ino, how are you? Her mom said, glomped her in a hug. Hey Mr. Yamanaka, Naruto replied casually. Hello Naruto, so how strong has Ino become? Inoichi said as he leaned close. Naruto smiled evilly. Let's talk somewhere private. Naruto replied and Inoichi led him to the back of the house. So what have you and Draco taught Ino? Inoichi asked. Well, she is definitely the strongest kunoichi of her age, and third only to me and Draco. Also the Geikage gave her a weapon, a bow to be precise. Inoichi jumped around. Woo, she is going to be really strong, better than me, and she is going to make me even prouder of her. Yay, and there is more, she wears 150 pounds of weights, so her speed is deceiving. Wow, she is doing better than me at that age. Anything else? Well, there is one more thing, but I was going to make it a surprise. Tell me now, Inoichi snapped. Well, I am helping her and Draco learn a move. What move is that? The, Flying Thunder God. Inoichi stopped moving and his left eye twitched. You mean the same one that made the Yondaime famous? His eye still twitching. Yes. Woo. This time he screamed so loudly that Ino and her mom came running in. What is going on? Nothing, just talking between to my soon-to-be son-in-law, he said as he calmed down and put a hand on Naruto's head. Okay, well, come on, the cookies are done, Ino's mom said as they went to kitchen and had cookies and milk while they talked. Naruto's house. At the house was the whole Rookie 9. Naruto and Ino ran into Kiba and his team and invited them. Sandaime and the senseis had also arrived. Zabuza and Haku were getting the ramen ready. Naruto had gone to find Lee and found him and his team training, and he invited them all. "So you guys ready for the ramen eating contest?" Naruto asked happily. "There are prizes for top kunoichi and shinobi in the most bowls eaten category and for quickest bowl eaten category." Naruto said. "Okay, let's go. Ladies first." Ino, Sakura, Hinata, Ten, Haku and Kurenai all sat around the long table first. Naruto clones came out of the kitchen, each holding a bowl for the contestant. The girls got their chopsticks and waited for the signal. Sandame raised his hand and eyed the competitors. "First up is the fastest bowl contest. Go," Sandame said as he dropped his hand. The girls all dug into their food. First was Haku, who finished in 22 seconds, Ten finished in 23, Sakura and Ino both tied at 25 seconds. Hinata finished in 30 seconds and Kurenai was 32 seconds. "The winner of this round is Haku," Sandame said as he presented her a ribbon. "Okay ladies, now for the overall eating contest," Sandame said as they got ready again. Over 50 Naruto clones came out of the kitchen and were waiting to resupply the girls if they needed it. "Go," Sandame said as he once again dropped his hand and the girls dug in. Everyone was cheering their teammates on and they were eating. Eventually, Hinata stopped at 5 bowls, next was Kurenai at 6, Ten finished with 9 and Sakura finished at 10 bowls. Ino and Haku were still at it. They were both on bowl number 11. Haku finished 11 and stopped. Ino made it to number 12 and finished it. "Wow, Ino, you eat a lot," Kiba called. "Well, when you are around 2 ramen machines, you learn to eat a lot of it," Ino said as she found her way to a couch. Kurenai stood up and would be the judge for the boys. Sandame, Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, Naruto, Draco, Lee, Shikamaru, Shugi, Neji, Kiba, Akamaru, Shino and Zabuza lined up for the quickest bowl contest. Kurenai raised her hand and was getting ready to start when a bolt of lightning struck outside. Robert and Jake walked in. "You were actually going to start without me," Robert said, taking a seat. Jake went to the side saying he was not hungry. "I thought you were on a mission. Not starting till the morning." Jake brought out a stopwatch and stood next to Kurenai. "They are that fast?" Ten asked. "You would be surprised," Jake said. Kurenai once again raised her hand and said, "Go." Naruto, Draco and all finished in exactly 2 seconds. Neji, Shugi, Lee, Kiba all finished in 3 seconds. Zabuza and Guy finished in 4. The rest of the genin decided to sit out, knowing they had no chance. "So who won?" Naruto asked, jumping up. "Me, or Naruto?" "Actually neither of you," Jake said. "Naruto, you beat Draco by 0.09 of a second. Haha. Woo, I won." "I didn't say that. You were actually 4th and Draco was 5th. "What, who won?" Naruto screamed. 3rd was Kakashi at 1 second. Kakashi just smiled and waved. Next was, everyone was eyeing the Sandame and Robert. Robert at 0.948 seconds, and Sandame finished in 0.945 seconds. Sandame cheered and Robert playfully frowned. "Well, now for the most eating contest," Jake said. More clones brought out bowls of ramen. Jake lowered his hands again and they started. The men were tearing up the ramen. Guy and Asuma stopped at 13 bowls. Lee, Neji, and Kiba made it to 14 bowls. Shugi and Zabuza ate 15. Everyone was now watching for the winner. They were all on bowl 18. Sandame stopped at 19. Robert laughed at this but then finished at 19. Naruto and Draco were each eyeing each other down as they finished bowl 21. Draco getting full? Naruto asked as they moved on to bowl number 22. "Nah, time for the secret trick," Draco said evilly. He then turned into his 7 feet form and kept eating. "That was a cheap shot, buddy," Naruto called as they made it to 23. Hey Kyuubi, can you speed up my metabolism? Naruto called. Sure, Kyuubi said from the end of the table. Naruto glowed red and they both began eating vigorously. Eventually Draco stopped at 29 bowls. Naruto laughed and kept eating. Naruto tried to finish the bowl but just could not. It is a tie. Naruto and Draco both win at 29 bowls. Jake called. Did you forget about me? Kakashi called from the far end of the table. Behind him was 31 empty bowls. Never mind, Kakashi wins at 31 bowls. Aw man, Naruto whined. The rest of the night was spent playing cards, or board games. Shikamaru and Kyuubi were playing Shugi and Kyuubi beat him all 3 times, exclaiming, "I've got 10,000 years on you, brat." Eventually everyone went home and Robert and Jake shot out again through a strike of lightning to start their diplomatic mission. Naruto made some clones to clean up everything. Next morning, Zabuza had gathered his things and met up at the Hokage's office with the rest of his team. Haku felt sick from all the ramen and decided to stay home. Sandaime was sitting in his chair looking a little tired. Too much ramen, Gramps? Naruto teased. Yes, I have not eaten that much since a contest back with Jiraiya and Tsunade. Aha, so are we all ready to go? Anything else, Gramps? No, although I am guessing the sword she is carrying is expensive because she has not put it down once. I will keep an eye on that, Zabuza called as he bowed slightly. Well, Team 7 have a safe mission, Sandaime said, dismissing them. CYA, Gramps, Naruto and Draco called. Main gate 12 o'clock. Zabuza was walking in front of the 3 genin and dragon. Kaide was walking beside him. Draco was in his small form on Naruto's shoulder and Kyuubi was on Ino's. So Kyuubi, what is grass country like? Naruto asked. I put all of the speech in quotes so to try and make less confusion. I have no clue why only some of the stuff is uploaded is bold, but I can't help it. And both of my stories now have 20,000 hits. Keep going. Lol. Well, read a review. Naruto and the group had returned from their mission to Grass Country. It was an easy mission, just some bandits attacked and tried to take the sword inside the box. Turns out that it was a family sword that could utilize the element of earth. Somehow it had wound up in Fire Country and needed returning. Now the team was walking through the village to see the Hokage. Hey Naruto, what should we do now? I mean, I don't think that they will give us another mission for at least a couple of days. Well, I guess we could go on a trip or something. That's boring, Naruto. We should go somewhere exciting like the beach. But of course first is Ichiraku. Hey brats, we gotta go see the Hokage first, remember? Zabuza pointed out. Hey, kind of forgot about that, Naruto said as he scratched the back of his head. Stupid brat, Zabuza said, sighing. Hey, you're just mad because me and Naruto are stronger than you. What was that, you gecko? Zabuza retorted. You want to start something, no eyebrows? Draco shot back now in Zabuza's face. Can you two please shut up? Sasuke yelled. Zabuza and Draco ignored him completely. Guys, maybe that is enough, I don't th. Naruto stopped his pleading when Ino smashed both Zabuza and Haku into the dirt and began yelling at them about talking so much. Well, thank goodness we are at the Hokage's office, Naruto said as he began his walk up the flight of stairs. Hokage's office. So how was the mission? Sarutobi asked. Easy. Just some bandits, not even any ninjas. And Miss Kaide was delivered safely to her home. Yay. She apparently has a big clan there that was waiting for her, Zabuza informed him. Well, the mission was a success, here is your pay, and he handed them each an envelope. Thanks, Gramps, Naruto said. Oh, and Robert has something to tell you all. Thanks, Gramps, Naruto and Draco called as they left while Sasuke and Ino bowed before leaving. Zabuza stayed to go over the details with the Hokage while the genin left. Street in Konoha. Man, I missed Ichiraku, Naruto whined. Yay. The ramen in Grass Country was terrible compared to this. As much as I hate getting involved in your ramen conversations, you are right, Ichiraku ramen is better than any I have had so far, Ino said. Yay. Sasuke. Woo, that's two more that agree Ichiraku is amazing, Draco screamed out. Now wait a second. I said it's better than other. I didn't say it was amazing, Ino pointed out. You know it's amazing, Ino-chan, Naruto whined. A figure jumped down from the rooftops completely unnoticed by the four. He landed right in front of them, causing them all to fall back in surprise. What was with that reaction? Haven't you seen me before? Robert teased. Of course we have seen you, but usually it's just a big attention-attracting fancy-dancy lightning bolt that comes down and hits the ground right in front of us and scares the crap out of everyone. Not some little jump down right in front of them, Draco yelled. Robert smiled. You're just mad because I scared you. No, you didn't. Draco tried to continue his yelling but was silenced by Ino. Man, you actually did startle us, Geikage-sama, Ino said formally. Aw man, quit it with the formal stuff. I have to listen to that crap everywhere else I go. I don't want to hear it from you guys. Okay, Geikage-sama. Aw, forget it. Well, anyway, the reason I came to see you was this. And Robert held out 3 pieces of paper in front of them. They stared at them. Applications for the Chunin exams, it's about a month away. Woo. Alright. Naruto and Draco screamed out. So you guys know what that means, right? Training. Sasuke replied as he turned to walk away. Robert appeared in front of him, crouching down a little to Sasuke's eye level. Now I am not going to be training you, but that doesn't mean that you won't have help. At hearing this, Sasuke actually became a little excited. Kakashi here is going to train you with your Sharingan. I heard you have reached the 2nd level, correct? Yay. Well, the 3rd level is very powerful. So if you can unlock it before the exams, you will have a great advantage. I will try to, Geikage-sama. Arg, enough with the formalities, just call me Robert. Well, anyways, Kakashi is at the Hokage's office waiting for you, so go and get him and tell him to get his in gear, Robert said, standing up and getting Sasuke going. Robert turned to the rest of them. Well, Ino, I am sorry, but I will not be training you. I just don't have the time. What? She can come with us, she needs training too. I never said that she wouldn't be getting training, I just said that it would not be me doing the training. Well, who is it? He better be good, Naruto said, crossing his arms. He's been here this whole time, see if you can find him, Robert said, smiling. They each looked around and then concentrated on their surroundings. It went for about 3 minutes until Ino drew a kunai and sliced a couple feet in front of her. A hand caught her arm, stopping it. The man revealed himself. Hey Jake. Robert and Draco said. So you are going to be the one training me? Ino asked. Yes. So what kind of training? He withdrew from under his cloak a pale yellow bow. Ino smiled and no words were needed. Well, as you can see, you have better detection skills, which means that you will be the brains of the team, Jake said as he and Ino walked away. So when do we start? Naruto asked, eager to get stronger. Well, we start now, but I will be training you both for the first day, and then Zabuza will be training Draco because I have some important training for you. Aw man, that weakling. He will basically be teaching you some sword techniques for that cleaver of yours. Okay, so let's get started. Secluded training area. Robert was sitting on a stump with his legs crossed as Naruto and Draco were on the floor in front of him. Well, as you two know, you wear lots of weights. Naruto and Draco nodded. But from what I saw, Lee beat you last time, correct? Yay. He's really fast and strong. Yay. And Guy is even faster. Wow. How fast are you then? Not telling. Damn it. Robert stood up and took off his chest plate and shirt. In the middle of his chest was a simple cross with a number 10 in the middle. What's that? This is a gravity seal. It increases the resistance on your entire body. So you are at 10x the normal gravity. Correct. Cool, I want it. Haha, okay, let's go, Robert said as he made the preparations and began to apply the seal. With Ino and Jake, I would like to see your skills with a bow before we start training Ino, so a little spar if you please. Sure. Well, begin. Ino drew an arrow and shot it towards Jake. He spun and grabbed the arrow in midair and strung it in his bow and shot it back faster than Ino even drew the arrow. It zoomed back towards her and she ducked down and felt a few strands of hair fall. Wow, that was fast. She rolled to the side to avoid 2 more arrows that made a high-pitched swoosh sound as they sliced the air. Ino rolled again and drew an arrow and stood up. The arrow became engulfed in spiraling water. She launched the arrow and it flew towards Jake, who was still standing in his original spot. In midair, her arrow was struck and stopped by an exact copy of her arrow. What was that? I also have skill in the water arts. Well, that explains that, Ino whined. Okay, I know where to start. First, I am going to teach you a jutsu that is extremely effective. It is called the freezing mist. It is just like the hidden mist that Zabuza uses, except it freezes everyone else except you. This helps because it lowers their visibility and dulls their sense as well as slows their reactions. So it is a great technique for a bow user. Ino nodded her head as she listened to the explanation. A dark room. Among the very dim light that there was, you could see 3 eyes. One was blood red with 3 commas. The other 2 were red but only 2 commas. A slight movement of either one brought these deadly eyes to the exact spot of movement. Next day, Robert and Naruto stood among the top of a snow-covered mountain in their training area in the Himalayas. Naruto was slumped a little from his new seal. I will show you the ultimate taijutsu style as well as my strongest and deadliest move, Robert said calmly. Robert's hands slowly began to brighten. On top of a river. Cling. Screech. 2 massive swords were being swung around, colliding with each other. Ichiraku ramen. 1 month later. Robert and Naruto were busy eating ramen. Naruto was excited because his training had ended and this was the day he was supposed to meet Ino and Draco back here. He was anxious to meet Ino, Draco and Sasuke more than he was about the Chunin exams. Naruto now wore a white shirt and a red vest that left his white shirt revealed some. On his shins and forearms were the glowing white armor plates. His back held his Kyuubi enhanced sword. The most noticeable change though was his hair and forehead protector. His hair was now white with yellow mixed in. It was the complete opposite of before. His forehead protector still bore the leaf symbol. Around it though was a web of lightning that glowed white. Naruto turned from his bowl to look at his sensei. Man, when are they going to get here? I miss them, Naruto whined. Robert smiled. Naruto turned to see what made his sensei smile, to see his chopsticks floating in midair, and reached down and grabbed some noodles. Wo hi Ino-chan, Naruto said as he gave her a huge hug which surprised Ino and Jake. Naruto, how did you know I was there? Ino asked. She now wore a pale blue shirt and pants. She had forest green bracers that were the same color as Jake's armor. Around her waist was her headband that also had the lightning web behind it. I don't know how to explain it, so I will just show you. Naruto made a hand seal and concentrated for a second. Around him were many tendrils of lightning that wandered around him aimlessly. He has created his own variation of the status field technique. It's basically a short-range sensor that detects anything with a charge, pulse or electrical. Robert said. He had time to that with your training? Jake asked, appearing from the middle of the air. Yay. He absorbed everything I had to teach him. He knows everything I do, but I still got more experience than this little brat. Hey, that may be true, but I managed to cut his arm and make him bleed, Naruto said, raising his voice a little. Really? Jake actually showed emotion this time. Last time anyone cut you was probably 10 years ago. I know he has gotten really good. He is still nowhere near my speed at full, but he can beat more than 95 of this village now. Well, he was definitely the right choice for your successor. Jake answered as he began a conversation of his own with Robert. Naruto turned back to Ino and gave her a kiss on the lips. They stayed like this for a moment until a voice surprised them. GRRROOOSSSSSS. Before anyone could react, Draco had dropped down from the air to yell something only to be sent flying again courtesy of Ino. Haha, nice. You learned something, Zabuza said as he entered into the stand. What are you talking about? Ino asked in a very mad voice. Draco finally learned that he should send a clone first instead of himself. Yep, Draco said as he dropped down from the ceiling of the stand in his small form and right in front of Ino's bowl and began eating. Hey Zabuza, hey brats, ready for the exam? Of course we are going to kick. Yay, you guys shouldn't have any problem, you beat me and almost got Kakashi. Yep, and now Ino is even stronger and so is Sasuke, Naruto said full of enthusiasm. You're right there, Naruto, Sasuke said as he walked up to the group followed by Kakashi with his book. Hey Sasuke, get any stronger? You know it, I'll bet I can beat you now, he bragged. I doubt it, I can almost beat Sensei here and can definitely beat Kakashi, Naruto retorted. Is that so? Kakashi said, still looking at his book. Yay! Sensei, you are falling behind. Well, you are the new generation, so you should be passing me. Kakashi replied. That's true, you guys are old, Naruto said. Are you serious? We are only 10 years older than you. We are still young brat, Zabuza said, getting a little mad. Well, don't start a fight over us and our age, Jake said, calming them down. Yay! Don't forget you guys have the exams tomorrow, so you should go get some sleep and supplies for the exam, Robert said as he paid the bills. Yay! I am kind of tired, so I'll see you guys in the morning, we meeting here for breakfast. Naruto asked, serious. Sure Naruto, but I am going to eat something at my house and not ramen, Ino said as she got up and stretched. But ramen is so good, and it's Ichiraku. Draco screamed. Oh great, look what you did, Ino, Sasuke said as he sighed. Thankfully the gods were good to the rest of them and they didn't have to put up with Naruto and Draco's speech about ramen and Ichiraku because of a couple of kids. Hey boss. Hey Konohamaru, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while, Naruto said, completely forgetting about his speech on ramen. Well, you said that you would play ninja with us before and then you left. Well, I was doing some training, I wasn't even in Konoha, Naruto said, defending himself. Well, then you have to play with us now. Okay, fine, we will play a stealth game, you three go hide and we will try to find you. Yay! The Konohamaru Corps cheered. Well, you better get going because the big bad dragon is coming after you. Draco said, trying to scare them. Oh wow, we are really scared, we have to run from a gecko, Konohamaru said, his voice full of sarcasm. Gecko. Gecko, I am not a gecko. By now the Konohamaru Corps had took off, running from the enraged Draco who began flying after them. Naruto and Ino quickly followed. Sasuke said something about going home to sleep. Konohamaru turned a corner and bumped into someone. OWW, you damn brat, that hurt, said a voice, and Konohamaru found himself being held in the air by his shirt. Sorry mister, it was an accident, he pleaded. I still think you should get some punishment. Kankuro, stop. You are going to start trouble, Tamari said. I'll be fine, just going to teach him a lesson. Draco turned the corner and instantly got pissed off but didn't say anything because he wanted to stay a secret for the exams. Naruto and Ino caught up and Naruto stepped forward. Hey bastard, put him down. And why should I? Well, first off because he is the Hokage's grandson, and secondly because he is my friend and you are pissing me off. Third, this isn't your village and attacking a Konoha shinobi isn't very smart either. Kankuro didn't seem fazed at all and brought his free hand back to punch Konohamaru. Kankuro, stop. Arg, I didn't have any part in this, Tamari said, giving up. Kankuro brought his fist forward but was stopped halfway from an arrow through his forearm that had froze his arm. Suddenly his arm holding Konohamaru felt heavier, and when he looked, Naruto was in his place and delivered a punch that sent Kankuro flying back. Ino was amazed because of what Naruto had just done. He moved faster than anyone she has ever seen before. In Naruto's wake was a white lightning bolt that stretched from where he started to where he currently was. It was beginning to fade out of existence. No wonder he's not learning the FTG, that was incredible and I doubt I could match that speed. Ino thought to herself. Draco was sharing the same thoughts. Wow, that was fast, I never saw him move, Tamari said, afraid because of this speed. Kankuro got up and pulled the arrow out of his arm. That's it, I am pissed now, Kankuro said as he unraveled his puppet from his back. Kankuro, are you serious? You are now in trouble. Gaara might come. I don't care. He's going down. Ah, need some help. Naruto joked. Just watch, you brat, Kankuro said as he began his attack. Karasu was halfway to Naruto, who hadn't moved at all when he was suddenly stopped by the jaws and claws of the transformed Draco, who threw the puppet to the side. Sorry, couldn't let you guys have all the fun. Wah. Wah, what is that? Tamari stuttered out. I am a dragon and the partner of Naruto here. And if you make another move you will be sorry. And not just from us, your friend over there isn't too happy either, Naruto said, pointing to the tree next to them. Gaara realized that he had been found out and materialized in front of them. I wish to know your name. Gaara ordered. It is customary to give your name first, Naruto said back. Gaara eyed him for a while and then increased his killer intent. Hey Naruto, I know this chakra, it is the Onetailed, let me out to see him. Kyuubi, where the hell have you been? Naruto mentally screamed. I was taking a long nap, now let me out. Fine. In the real world, Naruto went through the few seals needed and bit his thumb. Naruto, what are you doing? Ino asked. Kyuubi wants to come out, summoning Jutsu Kyuubi. The puff of smoke followed and there stood Kyuubi in his two-tailed form. That's it, a little fox. Kankuro said as he began to laugh. Oh, bad move there, buddy, Draco said as he transformed back to his smaller form and returned to Naruto's shoulder. Kankuro found himself on the ground and a pissed off Kyuubi on his chest. You had best hold your tongue, young one, especially when your life can easily be taken. Not only was Kankuro scared, but Gaara was trembling from Kyuubi's aura. Gaara could hear the demon within screaming out in fear. Kyuubi sensed this and jumped from Kankuro to in front of Gaara. Gaara let Shukaku take control for a second. What are you, crazy? He will kill you, he will kill you. Not in my presence, he won't, now let him out. Kyuubi spoke in a very commanding voice that Gaara listened to and let Shukaku take control. Gaara was quickly on the floor, backing away from Kyuubi. No, go away. Do not harm me, I am sorry. Shukaku, what have you been doing to this boy? I am sorry, Lord, the seal they put on me. It doesn't work right. There is another presence that is always fighting me and has driven me crazy. Shukaku, talk normally enough, I will fix the seal. Yo, you. Well, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you. Have Gaara come by Naruto's later to fix it, and keep the other presence subdued until then. I will thank you, my lord, thank you. Gaara regained control of his body and fell to the floor on his butt. He looked around and saw the form of Kyuubi and Naruto. He looked even more surprised than when Naruto mentioned the demon inside him. Is it true that you can fix my seal and subdue the demon within? Gaara asked shakily. Yes, I will tell your siblings where to go, but right now you need something more important, sleep. As Kyuubi said these words, Gaara began to feel dizzy and then fell asleep. If you two don't want any trouble, I suggest you keep to yourselfers, because as you can see, your brother is down and you look pretty scared right now. I know, look at the puppet guy, he's shaking in the knees. Ha ha ha. Naruto explained where to go to Temari and Kankuro, where his house was, and left them after Draco reverted to his smaller form and Kyuubi returned to his prison. They also threatened them that if they told anyone about their skills that they would be sorry. They reluctantly agreed. Well, that was fun, scared some genin and got to stretch a little bit. Naruto joked. Stretch? What are you talking about? I am the one that's always smaller than he really is, Draco whined. That may be, but still that was fun. Guys, what trouble? Ino whined. Ha ha ha. Yay. But let's get going, I am tired and we got the exams tomorrow, so sleep sounds good. Alright, good night everyone, see you in the morning, at Ichiraku, Ino said, getting a little depressed at the end because of the constant Ichiraku ramen. Good night Ino, Naruto called as he. Kyuubi and Draco walked off. Night boys, Ino called back as she waved. Good night, Sasuke said as left with his hands in his pockets. Well, you two are lucky, I got a seal to fix. Wow, that will take you like what, 5 minutes? Naruto said sarcastically. I hate you, Naruto. Naruto and Draco laughed the rest of the way home. Gaara came over and Kyuubi fixed his seal, and now Shukaku can talk to Gaara freely like Kyuubi and Naruto can. Next day, first exam building. Naruto and Draco arrived at the entrance to the building to see Sasuke and Ino waiting for them off to the side. We aren't late, are we? Naruto asked. No, you aren't. We just came early is all, Sasuke replied. What, you don't like sleep or something? Naruto called back. Naruto, be quiet and act mature. We are supposed to be the best ones here, remember? So time to act like your serious self, Ino said, smacking him over the back of the head. Okay Ino. Let's go, Naruto said, taking the lead. Sasuke was on his left and Ino on his right. Draco was sitting on Naruto's right shoulder. They walked through a hallway when they saw Lee get kicked across the room. Of course he got back up and stood again, yelling at some chunin. Neji and Tenten were standing back across the room, getting a little aggravated. Draco pointed out a genjutsu to Naruto quietly, and Naruto found it and smiled. Naruto, you have arrived, how are you? Lee exclaimed, completely forgetting the chunin. I am good, Lee, but if I may ask, why are you guys here? Neji got a little mad and walked to Naruto. We are here to become chunin, what are you here for? Naruto whispered something into Neji's ear and kept walking with Sasuke and Ino following. Neji smacked himself upside the head and told Lee and Tenten to follow him as he followed Naruto. The rest of the genin in the first room shrugged that they left and kept trying to get into the wrong room. Thank you, Naruto, I would have never thought of a genjutsu back there, Neji said, still mad that he never sensed it. Well, me either. Draco found it. Hehehehe, Naruto said, laughing. Everyone else just sighed. Well, here we are. Let's see who else is inside, Sasuke said as he opened the door. Everyone in the room looked at the newcomers. Naruto looked right back and just ignored them when he spotted Shikamaru and the rest of the rookies from Konoha. Hey guys, how's it going? The rest of the exam went normal, taking the test and getting freaked out by Ibiki. All of the Rookie 9 and Guys team passed, as well as the Sand team, and a couple other teams. Now they were at the second exam. Forest of Death. They were in the clearing just outside the monstrous forest where Anko was explaining the rules for this one. So any questions as to the exam? Anko asked. She looked around and saw no questions but got annoyed when she saw Naruto talking to Sasuke completely ignoring her. She decided to get even and threw a kunai towards Naruto's face. All of the genin looked shocked when the kunai was quickly whizzing through the air. Naruto sensed it coming but never moved, and Anko got a little scared when Naruto made no move to dodge or block the kunai. OMG, move, you idiot! Anko screamed in her head. At the last second, Draco's tail sprang up and caught the kunai and handed it to Naruto. Anko appeared in front of Naruto quickly. Why weren't you paying attention, you brat? Anko demanded. I was. You said something about a forest, 2 scrolls and signing some papers that get you out of trouble or something. Naruto said, waving her off. Why, you brat? Anko brought a fist towards Naruto, who never moved, but the fist was smacked away by Draco's tail. What the hell is this thing? Anko said, looking at Draco. This here is my friend Draco. You shouldn't get him mad or else he will be a pain in your Naruto said. A dragon? Anko asked. Yay, he's a dragon. What did you think he was, a teddy bear? Naruto said, smiling. Why, you little bastard. Anko started walking towards Naruto. Draco raised his head annoyed and breathed some fire at Anko, who jumped back from the quick move by Draco. He can breathe fire. One Naruto hurtled over an incoming branch, spinning and landing proper before he jumped off again as the rest followed through the trees. Ino was following Naruto's path, although it was a little less wild. Sasuke was bringing up the rear while spinning a kunai. Draco was flying at the highest point before he would lose sight of them. Ino was carrying her bow in hand and an arrow in the other. Draco, anything yet? Sasuke half yelled to their flying scout. As a matter of fact, yay. I smell a team not too far ahead, maybe another mile or so, but I also smell some kind of insect. I don't know what it is though. Gotcha. Sasuke said as he looked forward, eager for a fight. Naruto was smiling because he was enjoying the thrill of jumping through the trees while flipping over and ducking under them. Ino just smiled and looked around because she was more cautious than Naruto was being. How much farther draw? Naruto never finished because the tree he was aiming his next jump for fell to the ground and an enormous centipede took its place with its mouth bared at Naruto, who had been in the process of a flip, so he was headed for it with his back and couldn't stop. Damn it, Naruto, Ino said as she strung her bow and fired the arrow. It zoomed past Naruto and hit the centipede in the side of the head, causing it to falter and allow Naruto to bounce off of the centipede and fall to the ground. The centipede recovered from the arrow and looked back at the other genin. This was a bad move. Fire style. Fire Dragon! Draco and Sasuke yelled as they melted the centipede with 2 burning dragons. Naruto was sitting on the floor rubbing his head from the fall when the rest of his team reached him. Nice one, Naruto, Draco said sarcastically. Naruto smiled and then saw Ino's look of anger and quickly moved behind Sasuke. I am not going to protect you, Sasuke said, stepping out of the way, not wanting to invoke a woman's wrath. Naruto, just watch where you are going next time, Ino said and smacked him, causing Naruto to rub the back of his head again. Alright, let's get going and be alert. No doubt that a few teams felt those attacks. Draco, try to stay out of the fights with any other teams for now, okay? You are a great hidden skill, so don't ruin it, Ino said, and Draco just nodded because he knew she was right even though he wanted to fight some. Will do, Naruto said as he got back up and started to take to the trees again, with Ino and Sasuke following in their positions. Draco was perched on Ino's shoulder this time. Alright, stop, commanded Draco. The team is just up ahead and they stopped moving, must have set up a trap, so be careful. I got it, Naruto said as he made a hand seal. Naruto, Ino and Sasuke burst through the tree line with kunai drawn to see a mist team standing on the other side smiling. You lose, one of the ninja said as a wire snapped and dozens of shuriken and kunai sprang from the trees headed to the leaf team. Naruto shoved Ino and Sasuke out of the way and laid helpless to the incoming projectiles. Naruto! Ino screamed. The mist team smiled and threw more kunai at the remaining members of Team 7. Sasuke threw kunai and intercepted the incoming ones. They all fell to the ground useless. My turn, Sasuke said as he began a long set of hand seals. One of the mist ninja retaliated with a quick water dragon. Ino countered with her own water dragon. Sasuke was still making hand seals when the mist team charged kunai drawn. Sasuke stopped his hand seals and the mist team kept charging. Fire style. Boo, Sasuke said smiling. 3 pairs of hands grabbed the mist team and dragged them underground, catching them completely off guard. Naruto emerged from the ground and grinned. Now you can't say that that wasn't funny. Naruto said chuckling. That was one of your better pranks, Sasuke said smiling. Draco walked over to the group. That was hilarious. The mist team was scared out of their minds with Sasuke doing those fake hand seals. Yay! They thought it was real, Ino said laughing. So which one of you has the scroll? Sasuke asked, being the first to stop laughing. Like we would tell you, one of the ninja replied. Well, from the crappiness of that trap, you guys can't be that good of ninjas, so who's got it? Naruto said, crouching down to their level and looking at them. We will never give you our scroll, the other ninja said. Okay, this isn't working. Take them out one by one and search them, damn it, Sasuke said, walking over to one and pulling him from the ground. The ninja tried to retaliate, but Sasuke punched him in the face, knocking him out. Ouch, that hurt, Naruto said laughing. Sasuke checked the ninja that he knocked out and found the scroll. Man, am I good or what? First pick, Sasuke bragged as he pocketed the scroll after checking its authenticity. Lucky guess, Naruto said as they began to walk away. Hey, what about us? You can't leave us in here, the mist genin yelled. Want to watch us? Naruto said as he turned around and waved as they made their way to the treeline. Draco returned to his smaller form and landed on Naruto's shoulder, and they dashed off again through the trees. Sand Trio. Gaara looked at the team who attacked him and stared them down. Temari and Kankuro just stood behind him. Pathetic, Gaara said as the sand shot out towards the other team. Shikamaru had seen Gaara's attacks and knew that they were no match for him, so he fled with them. We could have taken him, Shikamaru, if you weren't so damn lazy. We could have had 2 scrolls and be making our way to the tower, Sakura complained. Shugi had enough of Sakura's complaint. He knew that Shikamaru was a lot smarter than he let on and that he probably had a reason for doing so. Sakura, shut up. Do you really think that we could have taken on those ninja? That was just one genin that killed 3. And Shikamaru knew that, and that's why we didn't fight, Shugi yelled out in frustration. Sorry, Sakura mumbled. I sense Naruto's chakra that way, maybe he has an extra scroll, Shikamaru said and led them off. Team 7. Hey, I sense 2 really strong chakras both around Sannin level. Hutu Sannin, what would they be doing here? I figured that Orochimaru would try something, but who is the other one, Tsunade or Jiraiya? Naruto asked. Good question, but if Orochimaru finds us, it's going to be a hard fight, Ino said. Yay, but the one is pretty far away, probably outside the training ground. Still good to know who is where though, Ino chimed. Naruto, stop, I smell the snake bastard around, Draco cautioned. Shit, not now, Naruto said. What, who are you talking about? Sasuke asked. Orochimaru, one of the 3 legendary Sannin, Ino replied as she strung her bow. What would he be doing here? Sasuke replied as he drew his sword. I don't know, but that other chakra signature might be friendly, Naruto said aloud as he too drew his blade. Well, 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 what do we have here? Orochimaru said as he stepped into the clearing. That's far enough, snake bastard, Naruto said. My can't even say hello. How rude, Orochimaru said sarcastically. What do you want? Ino said, aiming her bow towards him. I have a gift for Sasuke. Denied, now go away, Naruto said before Orochimaru could finish. Well, Sasuke hasn't even heard my offer, Orochimaru insisted. No, now get. Naruto, shut up and let him finish, Sasuke yelled. No, Sasuke, he is evil. He is a traitor to Konoha, Ino said as she shut him up. Well, I'll leave you my gift whether or not, besides it will help make you stronger. Stronger than you could ever become in Konoha. Strong enough to kill you, brother, Orochimaru said. Sasuke heard this and immediately remembered his goal about killing his brother and pushed Naruto aside. What is this gift? Sasuke demanded. Power. Draco, go get the other chakra source and take Ino with you, no buts, go. Naruto said as he charged Orochimaru, who had begun walking towards Sasuke. Orochimaru released his killer intent, causing Sasuke to become weak in the knees and fall down. Naruto shook it off, but Ino and Draco both stumbled down. Well, only one of you is strong, and here I thought that a dragon would have been stronger than this, Orochimaru said, facing Naruto. Damn it, Draco said as he transformed and shook off the killer intent. He scooped up Ino and flew off to the other chakra source. You aren't getting away that easily. Fire style fire dragon, Orochimaru said as he released a dragon towards the flying Draco. Draco turned around in midair and released his own dragon to cover their escape. Well, they got away, Orochimaru said lazily. He quickly ducked under a swing from Naruto. Did you forget me? Naruto said. He was standing in his style and not the one taught by Robert. Well, looks like you can use a sword somewhat. Well, let me introduce you to the famous grass cutter, Orochimaru said as he withdrew the sword from his stomach. Naruto charged with a horizontal slash that Orochimaru blocked and pushed him back. Naruto spun and attempted a sweeping kick that Orochimaru jumped over and swung down towards Naruto. Naruto rolled to the side and began to gather chakra. Naruto jumped up and slashed at Orochimaru, who blocked the attack and tried a punch to Naruto's side, which Naruto spun around and fired his attack. Lightning dragon and a dragon erupted from his hand towards the Sannin. A large explosion ensued. When it cleared, Orochimaru stood atop an earth wall. Very nice attack, especially with the one-handed launch and no hand seals, Orochimaru said as the earth wall dissipated and he walked to the ground. But I really must give Sasuke his present before I run out of time, Orochimaru said as he began walking towards Sasuke. Naruto charged and swung again, this time to be blocked by the Kusanagi, and immediately punched backwards. Don't think that a genin could take me on so easily. I was going easy on you, Orochimaru said. So was I. 10 seal release. Orochimaru stopped his walk and turned back to Naruto, who now stood with his chakra overflowing. His hair was once again white and he was in a full suit of white armor. Naruto dropped into the heaven style taught to him by Robert. Orochimaru recognized that stance and was pissed. How do you know that stance, boy? Orochimaru demanded. My sensei, now shut up and go away. Naruto warned again. Well, time to eliminate the pest, Orochimaru said, beginning to take Naruto seriously. Naruto noticed that his speed and strength greatly increased from their first skirmish. Orochimaru appeared beneath Naruto's guard and sliced at his throat as Naruto aimed for Orochimaru's head. Orochimaru hit first and Naruto exploded in smoke. Also, you know the shadow clone, isn't that interesting? Orochimaru turned quickly and blocked a swing from Naruto. Naruto smiled and slid his blade downward as he ducked under and let Orochimaru's sword slide over his head. Naruto began to cut towards Orochimaru's torso when he was kicked back hard. He got back up and parried a blow. He pushed back and spun around a vertical slash and caught Orochimaru down his right arm, leaving him bleeding. Amazing, I would never have thought that anyone below Junin to even give me a wound. You have much power, maybe I should leave you a gift as well. Shut up, Naruto said coldly. Orochimaru shot forward and swung a massive downward strike towards Naruto. He quickly raised his sword and moved to parry, but Orochimaru disappeared and reappeared behind him. Too slow, Orochimaru said, reappearing behind him and slashing diagonal. Orochimaru was surprised when his grass cutter was faltered for a second. He pushed more and the blade slid through the armor and cut Naruto deeply down his back. Naruto turned quickly with a horizontal slash, but Orochimaru ducked and moved around him quickly and kicked him in the back. Naruto hissed in pain as the wound was just kicked with full force, sending him flying to a tree, effectively breaking in it too. Naruto was lying on his back panting. Orochimaru smiled and jumped with his blade poised for a kill. Naruto formed a hand seal and shouted status field, effectively stopping the blade and Orochimaru in the air. Naruto then modified the seal and shouted again. Chain lightning 50 strikes. The lightning, forming the impenetrable shield of electricity, shrank back to Naruto and then shot out like a cannon, hitting Orochimaru in the chest. He yelled out as the lightning ran through his body. He stumbled back, breathing hard. He looked down to see a large burn on his chest and his shirt torn to pieces. Orochimaru stood back up, but the move still had hurt him. I have to admit that was an extremely effective defense and attack, but I am not a Sannin for nothing. Orochimaru began hand seals and charged Naruto. He tried to move but only succeeded in standing up before he was hit with the next attack. Paralysis technique, and Orochimaru struck Naruto, immobilizing him. As Naruto tried to break free, Orochimaru walked back to Sasuke, who still had not moved from the killer intent. Run, damn it, Sasuke! Naruto screamed, but it fell on deaf ears as Sasuke stayed immobile. Naruto began to struggle and couldn't move even with his seals released. Damn it, guess I need the fox. Naruto concentrated and found himself before Kyuubi. Hey Kyuubi, think you can break this technique for me? Naruto asked. Please, this weak technique, make sure you kill him though. And Naruto was sent back to the real world. He became enveloped in red chakra as he still struggled to get free. Orochimaru saw this and appeared in front of Naruto doing hand seals. Say bye to that fox. Five-pronged seal, and Orochimaru slammed his hand onto Naruto's stomach, cutting off Kyuubi's chakra completely and causing his chakra to flutter from the sudden change. Naruto fainted from the seal. Sasuke just began to wake up, and Orochimaru also sensed this but felt like playing with him and testing him. My Sasuke, took you longer than I expected to break out of that than an Uchiha should. Shut up, you know nothing of the Uchiha, and it is time for you to die, Sasuke yelled, pissed that someone was insulting him and the Uchiha. Sasuke began to charge Orochimaru with a kunai. Orochimaru simply sidestepped the attack and kicked Sasuke to the trees. He got back up growling and charged again, doing hand seals. When he finished, he yelled out, Fire style Grand Fireball. The huge fireball shot towards Orochimaru, who just ducked and let it sail harmlessly past him. Backslash. Such a slow attack, how do you plan on hitting anything with that? This is how you do it, Orochimaru bragged as he did his own hand seals. Fire style. Grand Fireball. This time the fireball flew towards Sasuke at an amazing speed, more than triple of his own. Sasuke stood in fear as the ball slammed into him and he fell back, unable to move from the burns. Orochimaru started walking towards Sasuke, grinning. Now I guess it's time for your gift. Orochimaru began to laugh as he kept walking. He stopped and his head snapped to the right quickly. It seems I am pressed on time. Orochimaru ran through a few hand seals and his neck extended and bit into Sasuke's neck, giving him the cursed seal mark. You will come to me for power, Sasuke. Without it you will not grow strong and cannot grow here in Konoha. Sasuke heard him but paid no attention for his neck was in severe pain. Orochimaru jumped back as a cry of Rasengan filled the spot he had just been standing. When the dust cleared, an older man stood with his long white hair draping down his back. My, it is good to see you, my old friend. As you Orochimaru, now what are you doing here in these exams? Well, I was just giving Sasuke my gift, Orochimaru said frankly. The man charged forward and punched Orochimaru in the face and he flew back into a tree. Orochimaru melted into a pile of mud. Damn, he got away, the man cursed. Just then Ino and Draco dropped into the clearing with Ino on his back. Ino quickly dismounted and ran to where Naruto was knocked out. The man eyed Sasuke and Naruto before he motioned for them to bring Naruto over to where Sasuke lay. So we have an Uchiha, even though he may be one of them, he wasn't any match in that fight. Hey buddy, who are you anyway? Draco asked as he shook Naruto. Naruto began to stir and he woke up rubbing the back of his neck. What happened? Did Orochimaru escape? But writhed in pain and sat up. Yay! Did you think that you could have beaten him? The man asked confused. Naruto began to get a little pissed and tried to retort but Draco beat him to the punch. Like I said, who are you? Mr. Draco said as he eyed the newcomer strangely. If anyone hasn't figured out who the guy is, then WTF, I mean come on. Jiraiya stood up straightly and began his introduction dance. When he finished he looked at the genin. Wow, that was the gayest thing I have ever seen, Draco replied flatly. Jiraiya hit the floor with his jaw and eye twitching. He stood back up rather quickly. What do you mean, do you know who I am? Jiraiya begged. Yay, one of the Sannin, but I don't care what you say, that dance wa. Naruto tried to finish but the wound on his back finally caught up him as the adrenaline wore off. Ino went to work on his back as Draco and Jiraiya watched and Draco mumbled something about the dance again. Oh well, it seems that I can't convince you three, Jiraiya whined. Well, thanks for coming anyway, Ino said as she tended to Naruto's wound on his back. Jiraiya went into a serious mode. Hey brat. Naruto looked up. Did you land any hits on Orochimaru in your engagement? Yay. Once on his right arm and one in the middle of his chest, Naruto stated proudly. Well, I must say that that is an amazing feat in itself. I would have a hard time doing that, Jiraiya said. What move did you use? Jiraiya asked, wanting to know. The one on his arm was done with my sword. But he gave me one as well, Naruto said, pointing to his back. And the other? Jiraiya asked. My own combo. Status field and chain lightning, Naruto said, smiling, but then bore a look of pain as Ino mended the wound. Ooh, I'll bet that one surprised him. Well, what does that do? Naruto howled in pain as Kyuubi's chakra tried to fight its way out to heal the wound. What's wrong, Naruto? Ino asked, concerned. Damn seal. He put one on top of Kyuubi's, and Naruto blacked out. Ino shook him a little. Naruto, wake up. So he carries the Kyuubi. Yay. Anything you can do about the seal? Let me see it. Ino took off Naruto's shirt and Jiraiya inspected it thoroughly and then thought about it for a minute. It's a 5-pronged seal, a very complicated and strong seal. It has multiple uses, but it's mostly used for sealing some kind of energy. Lucky I came. No one besides me or old man Hokage would be able to get this off. Well, can you do it? Ino asked, worried for Naruto's well-being. Geez, calm down, can I at least form the hand seals? He's not in any immediate danger, Jiraiya said, annoyed at her impatience. Jiraiya made a couple of seals and his fingers glowed blue and he slammed them into Naruto's stomach. 5-pronged seal release. The foreign seal around Kyuubi's faded, leaving the old seal that held the Kyuubis. Well, that's done and all as well. But he will need some rest first. Now I must be going because this is after all an exam. Watch over those two, Jiraiya said and leapt into the trees. Well, let's find some cover for these two, Ino said as she picked up Naruto and put him over her shoulder. Draco went and wrapped his tail around Sasuke's arm and drug him. They walked for a minute or two before they found a hollowed-out tree. They set down Naruto and Sasuke inside and Draco did a small earth jutsu to make a wall around the tree, leaving only one way in and out. Ino crawled inside and sat by the entrance. Draco hid in the branches above them, where he had a good vantage point and could release their traps. 6 hours later. It had been a few hours and Ino was getting worried because Naruto had not woken up yet, even with the help of the Kyuubi. Draco had fallen asleep a couple times and Ino was getting tired of waking him up. He did however wake up when Ino hit him with a rock and told him to be ready because she felt an approaching team. Just then the sound team entered the clearing. Well, looks like the little girl is left to protect the men. How pathetic you team must be, Zaku said as he began chuckling. Ino ignored the comments and drew a kunai. Leave now. Well, we cannot do that. We have a mission that entails us to kill Sasuke Uchiha. Dosu replied. Too bad that's not going to happen, Ino replied. Zaku got a little impatient and started to walk forward. Ino stood and held her kunai out. Zaku drew his kunai as well. Ino saw this and flung hers with all her might. The kunai sped towards Zaku, who brought his kunai up to block it but was too slow and the kunai tore his left sleeve and cut his arm slightly. While that was quite a throw, Dosu admired with his arms still hanging limp at his side. Even Draco up in the trees above was thinking the same thing. Well, let us get them then, Kin said as she threw her bells towards Ino. She quickly threw her own and intercepted the bells, knocking them to the floor. Well, she is apparently skilled at long range, so let us get closer then, Zaku said and sprinted towards Ino, who was still standing right in front of the modified shelter. Ino threw her kunai in front of Zaku, who jumped back and started again but was stopped when Dosu grabbed his arm. A hidden net sprang up right where Zaku who have been standing. Another click was heard and a set of logs fell from the trees above, causing all three members of the sound team to move backwards. Impressive trap, Kin said. You idiot, if I hadn't grabbed you, you'd be dead, Dosu said. When they looked back to Ino, she had her bow already in her hands and an arrow strung. Now the tables have turned, Ino replied happily. Are you serious? All you did was pick up a bow, Zaku said. And since when does a ninja use a Western weapon? Dosu inquired. It won't do anything against a fast-moving target, Zaku said and started to circle her. If she is confident enough to say the tables have turned when she uses this weapon, she must be skilled. Be careful, Zaku. I know. Time for some attacks of my own, Zaku said and brought his hands up but found that Ino had moved to the side a little. Decapitating air waves. The large blast of wind shot towards Ino, who rolled to the side and landed with one knee on the floor. She quickly aimed and pulled her arrow back. Freezing arrow. The arrow flew towards Zaku, who ducked under it and thought she had missed but then noticed that his hair was frozen. Damn bitch, Zaku said, trying to get his hair unfrozen. Enough, Zaku, let us take her together. If we keep this up, she will be at an advantage the whole time, Dosu said, and he and Kin moved to opposite sides to surround Ino. Damn, now what am I going to do? Ino asked as she strung another arrow. Kin and Zaku charged first and Dosu followed. Ino shot her arrow at Kin and she rolled and got back up quickly, following her teammates. Ino put her bow up to block a punch from Zaku. She tried to spin right but was hit by a kick from Dosu. This sent her into a tree, kicking up some dust. The sound team slowly walked towards her. An arrow shot out and hit Kin in the shoulder. Ah! Kin screamed in pain as she fell down from the force of the arrow. Zaku looked at Kin then turned back to the tree. Another arrow shot out and struck Zaku on his other arm, but just grazed him. Dosu brought his arm up and charged. The incoming arrow struck his arm and fell to the ground with a clunk. Ino was confused when Dosu appeared in front of her with no arrow in him. He swung his arm towards her and Ino ducked and went to retaliate but fell to the ground clutching her head and screaming in pain. Dosu kicked her back into the middle of the clearing and she lost her grip on her bow. Like my sound attack, Dosu said approaching her and pulling down his sleeve to reveal his device. Leave her now and get Sasuke. Kill the other one while you are at it, Dosu said as Zaku and Kin walked over to the two boys in the tree. Damn it, what do? I don't want to use the FTG yet, and the freezing mist wouldn't help because I can still get hit by the damn sound waves. Ino thought. As they neared the tree, Draco thought it time to jump to the ground. He landed and looked at them with a snarl. But they just laughed. Draco was standing in his small form. Think I am funny, huh? Earth Dragon. The attack came up and smashed into Kin, knocking her out of the battle. Still think I am funny. What the hell is that thing? Zaku said, starting to move backward. I will take care of him, Dosu said, moving in and pulling his sleeve up. You need to hit me first. Earth spikes. The ground all around him shot up in deadly pillars, forcing Dosu to jump back. As soon as he landed, he was forced to dodge a chunk of earth. Draco completely forgot about Zaku and was blindsided with a decapitating air wave that sent him into a tree. Quick, kill Sasuke before more bugs show up, Dosu said, referring to the leaf ninja. Zaku was on his way when he was knocked back from a kick by Lee. You will not harm my friends, Lee said, standing in the Iron Fist style. Dosu charged and swung madly. Lee ducked and kicked him backwards. Within an instant he was next to Dosu again and punched him down into the ground and then kicked him across the clearing. As soon as Lee finished his kick, he was hit with a decapitating air wave from Zaku. Forget me. Not at all, Lee said, getting up again. He began to charge again but fell to his knees holding his ears. Ahhhhh. It seems you two fail, Dosu said and punched Lee in the face, splitting his lip and knocking him back. Time for the kill, Dosu said and adjusted a knob on his device. He aimed it at Lee and began his attack. Just then a chakra flared up and everyone turned to see Sasuke rising. He was covered in a dark chakra. Everyone watched as Sasuke rose and charged Zaku. Zaku shot a decapitating air wave, but Sasuke appeared behind him and knocked him to the floor and held his arms in the air. You need these arms to attack, don't you? Sasuke said and pulled back until they came out of their socket. Sasuke, stop, Ino said, rising from the tree holding her arm. But Sasuke just looked back and ignored her. If we give you our scroll, will you give us safe passage from here? Dosu pleaded, trying to escape with their lives, and he took out the scroll. Yes, give it here, Ino said, catching the scroll. No, I will just take it from your dead body, Sasuke said and punched Dosu in the face, knocking him back and sliding along the ground. He rose and his nose was broken. Sasuke charged again and kicked but was met with the steel of Dosu's device. Sasuke spun around and punched the device again, but it did nothing. Sasuke drew his short sword and held it out to the right. He threw a kunai and charged, following the kunai. Dosu sidestepped the kunai but was met with the sword slashing towards his face. The device slammed against the blow and began to crack. Dosu pushed back and Sasuke jumped back, but Dosu fell to the ground panting. Such strength, Dosu admired. Sasuke looked at the fallen opponent and then noticed the unconscious Kin a few feet away. He walked over and smiled evilly. Hey dumbass, stop, Draco said from in front of the defenseless Kin. Up in the trees. Neji, do you think we should interfere and help them? Sasuke looks crazy. No, we will not get involved in this trivial matter. But why? What Sasuke is doing is wrong. That may be, but I think Naruto is waking up. Why are you in the way, you damn dragon? They are our enemy, Sasuke demanded as the chakra increased. I don't care, you bastard. She is defenseless. Tie her up or something. There is no need to harm her. Shut up, Sasuke said as he charged Draco with his sword. He slashed at Draco, but he blocked it with his talons. Sasuke began to overpower Draco in his small form but jumped back as an arrow shot by where Sasuke was just standing. You two are helping them, you bitch. Sasuke screamed and charged Ino. Move, Ino, Draco screamed, but Ino just stood there with her bow at her side. Sasuke began to swing his sword around towards Ino, who still hadn't moved. The blade was stopped by a fiery red one. What do you think you are doing, you bastard? Naruto screamed as he overpowered Sasuke and knocked his sword to the floor and punched Sasuke in the face. I don't know why you are attacking Ino, but she is your teammate, dumbass, Naruto said, walking over. Sasuke got up and began hand seals. Fire style fire dragon. The red hot dragon sped towards Naruto, who just raised his sword above his head. Breath of Kyuubi, Naruto muttered, and his sword pulsed and then absorbed the dragon. Sasuke charged again but was stopped by an arrow in the shoulder. He had not time to react as Naruto knocked him out with a punch to the stomach and then the back of the head. Damn Uchiha, Naruto said, just now noticing the sound team. They gave us their scroll in exchange for their safe leaving, Ino said, walking up to Naruto still holding her arm. Naruto looked back to the sound team. Then what are you still doing here? Dosu got right up and picked up both of his teammates and left quickly. So what happened while I was out? Naruto asked. Sound team attacked. Ino kicked their asses until she got hit with a sound wave from the mummy dude. Then Lee jumped in and was winning until he too got hit by the sound wave. And then Sasuke got up all crazy and crap. Neji and Tenten were getting ready to interfere, then you woke up. Neji and Tenten dropped from the trees. Hello Naruto, sorry for your crazy teammate. I never really liked that Uchiha, Naruto said, sheathing his sword and sitting down on the ground. So do you guys have your other scroll now? Ino asked. Yay. We got it from some mist team, Neji said. They were very weak. Lee did it all himself, Tenten said. Well then we will meet you guys at the tower, Naruto said as he picked up Sasuke by the back of his shirt and began walking towards the trees. See you there, Tenten said as Neji picked up Lee and they too left to the trees. Hidden in the trees. Hey, guess they didn't need our help after all, Shikamaru said as he lay back against a tree. Yay. Now I can finish my chips, Shugi said, pulling out an already opened bag. You two are so lazy, Ino said. Naruto was once again in the lead this time. He was carrying Sasuke. Wait. Another team incoming. Draco sniffed the air again. Mist team, smells like water. Draco, can you take them down without revealing yourself? Naruto asked. Yay. Easiest way would be to use the FTG. Well then do that. Ino, are you up to help? Sure. My arm is fine now, Ino said, flexing it to test it. Okay, I will wait back. You two dispose of the team, Naruto said as he dropped Sasuke onto a branch and took out a scroll. He unrolled it and bit his thumb and smeared the blood across the scroll. It glowed and then 50 kunai popped out and they were all marked with the special seal required. Naruto split them up between them and took off again through the trees. The mist team was moving through the trees at a medium pace. They were wary of their enemies as well as wanting to keep up their speed. A flurry of kunai came from the trees encircling the mist team completely. They all looked around. What do we do now? We are surrounded. One member said aloud. Give up, Ino said loudly, her voice echoing all around. They all turned around looking for the voice when another couple of kunai headed right for them and they jumped back when they realized that those kunai were meant to separate them. Shit, we gotta find them, a mist ninja screamed. Too late, Draco said as he and Ino started their attack. The mist ninja desperately searched as a flurry of yellow and black darted around them. They realized that whatever this was, it was hurting badly from the numerous cuts on their bodies. Draco went and knocked two of them out while Ino got the other. Ino began to tie them up as Draco gathered all the kunai into a bundle to give to Naruto. Naruto jumped down from the trees with Sasuke and dropped him to the ground. Naruto, not that I really care, but wouldn't you think Kakashi-sensei would get mad if we brought him a dead Uchiha, Ino said. Yay. But who cares, he attacked a teammate, he deserves it, Naruto replied as he sealed the kunai back into a scroll. Hey guys, look, we are almost at the tower, Draco said, pointing, then jumping to Ino's shoulder. Alright, let's go, Naruto said, taking off to the trees. Base of the tower. Naruto and Ino were both walking next to each other as they entered the clearing around the tower. I smell Gaara again, he's with his team, Draco said, pointing out. All of the genin who made it through the second exam was gathered in the main hall of the tower for the preliminary matches. Some genin had voiced their opinion about having to do some fighting just after they made it through the crazy forest. They were silenced by an explanation by the Hokage where he explained that on a mission something could happen where they would not get to rest at all. The Hokage, Robert and Jake, were at one end of the ring while the sensei stood behind their teams along the sides watching. Hayate stood in the middle of the ring. We will be picking the contestants by random by the use of this screen, he said as the wall moved to reveal the modern-looking screen. The screen blinked a couple times before flashing through all the names of the contestants and began to mix them up randomly. It continued for a couple seconds before stopping on the names of Sasuke Uchiha and Akado Yoroi. Happens normally. Hyuga Hinata vs Neji Hyuga. Hinata showed her spirit as she tried to beat her cousin, but Neji was too powerful, his skill exceeding. The matches went on and Naruto was getting anxious and so was Draco. Ino was smiling, just enjoying leaning on Naruto and watching the matches. They looked up at the screen to see who was next while Shikamaru exited the ring and Kin was carried out on a stretcher. Ino Yamanaka vs Sakura Haruno. Naruto immediately let loose a small chuckle which he tried to contain, but it didn't work as everyone heard his laugh. Everyone looked at Naruto and he just looked to the floor smiling. Robert whispered something to the Hokage who raised an eyebrow and said something back which caused them both to laugh. Ino looked at Sakura and began to remember the days they had together when they were younger. How they became best friends and how they grew distant because of Sasuke and then different teams. Sakura seemed to be having the same memories and they would have continued if Draco hadn't voiced his opinion. Will you two hurry up, you are slowing this down. Ino and Sakura were snapped out of their thoughts and began to enter the ring. They stood opposite each other as Hayate began the match and jumped back. So Ino pig ready to lose? Sakura bragged. Ino smiled back and dropped into a stance. You wish. Sakura attacked with a kick to the side which Ino stopped and sent a punch back at Sakura who ducked and jumped back. Ino quickly followed up and punched at Sakura, who grabbed the arm and twisted her body and threw Ino over her into the wall. Wow, Naruto, Ino's barely trying, what do you think she is doing? Draco asked at his confusion because Ino could easily beat Sakura and now she was just toying and using the same moves as Sakura. I really can't say, Draco, but the only thing I can think of is she is having fun. I mean, she still has her bow strapped to her back, Naruto said to his companion perched atop his head. Well, if she used the two it would be over. Yay, Naruto said, chuckling and returning his attention to the fight. Ino had recovered from the throw and was now standing again. Sakura was facing her and felt like bragging. What's the matter, Ino? Pig too weak to do anything. Sakura said. Ino felt it was now time to get serious. No, I was just testing you out and I can say that you are nowhere near my level. Ino said as she reached behind her and grabbed her bow and strung an arrow. You think that will actually work? Sakura said and drew two kunai, readying herself for the incoming attack. All around the room people were looking at Ino in confusion and their thoughts were the same. A bow. A Western weapon. Is she really going to use that? That damn thing. Ino smiled and pulled her arrow back and aimed. She released the arrow and it flung towards Sakura at a rate faster than that of a kunai. Sakura was able to track it and sliced both kunai simultaneously and the arrow dropped to the floor in 3 pieces. That it? Sakura said, readying herself for another attack. No, another test. This time I am fighting for real. Sakura. Feel free to surrender at any point, Ino said as she drew an arrow and waited for a couple seconds. Nice, now Ino is getting started and we get to see what she knows. I'll give her the match another minute tops, Naruto said to Draco, but was heard by both Kiba and Shikamaru, who looked at Naruto surprised at the short amount of time. Ino let loose the arrow and it sped towards Sakura extremely faster than last time. Sakura, seeing this, decided not to play with her skill and rolled out of the way of the arrow instead of stopping it. Sakura looked at where the arrow stopped and saw that it was impaled 2 inches into the wall. Don't take your eyes off the opponent, Ino called, and Sakura looked back at Ino to see an arrow already let loose and aiming for her leg. Sakura jumped to the side but the arrow still grazed her leg, causing her to bleed. Sakura winced at the pain but stood back up again. Sorry Sakura. I am going to advance to the next round, so I must end this. I don't want to embarrass you. Besides, you never stood a chance. Ino said. 30 seconds left. Naruto. You think Ino will finish it by then? Shikamaru asked. Yay. This move will most likely do it. Naruto said, watching to see what Ino had learned. Ino's backhand began to glow a light blue that was barely visible but caught the attention of everyone in the room. Arctic shot. Ino let the arrow fly. This time it was going even faster than the last and Sakura moved her arm but was still nicked by the arrow. She looked at the wound and saw that from the wound ice was spreading over Sakura's arm. Before Sakura could even look back at Ino, 2 more arrows had created similar wounds on her other arm. Sakura couldn't stand the pain, it was just so cold and numb. Sakura dropped to her knees as Ino walked towards a shivering Sakura. SOCC old, Sakura managed to say, shivering. Hayate came over and declared Ino the winner. Ino bent down and placed her hand on the wounds. The ice retreated and Sakura stopped shivering but fainted. Ino turned to the crowd and smiled. Woo, good job Ino. Naruto yelled as a few others clapped. Ino laughed slightly and returned to the railing by Naruto. Nice. That was pretty good. Yay, and with 11 seconds to spare, Shikamaru said. What? Ino said, confused, looking around. I said that you would finish it in under a minute and Shikamaru decided to count it down. I think it kept him awake, Draco said, laughing. Well, that bow is more than a match for a kunai, but nobody ever believes me. Ino said, flicking her bow now resting on her back. It's all right to take a compliment, Kakashi said as he silently returned to his position after taking Sasuke away. That didn't take long. Sasuke all right? Naruto asked with a hint of worry. Oh yes, Sasuke is fine. He's just resting at the hospital. Kakashi said, already reading his book. The screen started to move again, flashing randomly through all the names of the remaining members. 10-10 vs Gaara of the Sand. Ouch. Couldn't have gotten a worse pick, Naruto said, shaking his head. Yay. This match is already decided. Lee had heard enough badmouthing of his teammate and decided to step in. What right do you have to say that this match is already decided? You know nothing of 10-10's ability. Actually we do, Lee, Ino said. Yay, we did some research on all of the contestants at the forest. So we know how everyone fights. It just happened to be a bad pick for 1010. How do you know that? Did you obtain info on the other contestants too? Lee asked. Sort of. You see, Gaara over there has almost no taijutsu and probably no genjutsu either. You see that gourd on his back? It's full of sand infused with his chakra. He can control at a whim. This means he has a very strong defense, Naruto said. I see now. Maybe 1010 has something up her sleeves, Lee said, looking back to the match. Let's hope. She's going to need it, Ino said as everyone now returned their attention to the match at hand. 1010 was staring at Gaara, who had just materialized out of sand in the opposite part of the ring. He stood with his hands crossed over his chest and his gaze intently on 1010. Begin, Hayate yelled, then jumped back to a safe distance. 1010 immediately whipped some kunai towards Gaara at an alarmingly fast rate. They all were stopped by tendrils of sand that were coming out of the gourd. What is that stuff? 1010 said to herself as she drew some shuriken and tossed them at Gaara, who once again didn't move a muscle, and the sand blocked them and threw them to the ground. See Lee, she has no chance, Naruto said. It may be true that 1010 cannot lay a hit on him, but Gaara has yet to lay one as well. Maybe she can exhaust him. I really doubt that, Lee, Naruto said, thinking of the tailed beast within Gaara. 1010 summoned a sword and charged Gaara, intent on trying another tactic, but before she even got close, a wall of sand appeared in front of her. 1010 tried to slice through it, but the sand absorbed the hit and grabbed the sword from her hands, forcing 1010 to jump back. Guess I have to use it, 1010 said as she drew 2 scrolls from her back pocket. She did a couple of hand seals. Twin rising dragons. 2 smoke dragons began to spiral their way up, and 1010 jumped to follow and begin her attack, but found that she was stuck to the ground. When she looked down, there was a lasso of sand around each foot, trapping her to the ground. 1010 looked back up as the weapons all fell to the ground, useless now. The sand continued to flow to 1010, encasing her in a cocoon as Gaara walked towards her. When he was a few feet away, he spoke for the first time. Surrender, or you will die, he said with no emotion whatsoever. 1010 struggled against the constricting sand, still trying to find a way out. Fine, I surrender, 1010 said to Hayate, and the sand instantly fell to the ground and began to make its way back to the gourd as Gaara walked back to the railings. You did your best, 1010, Lee screamed as 1010 walked over to them. Yay, but I just couldn't have gotten a worse opponent. He has control over the sand like that. Wow, 1010 admitted. Yay, not much of a chance, Naruto said. Yay, Ino, I would like to have a spar with you someday when you use that bow of yours again. I want to test it against my weapons, 1010 stated. Sure, after the exams, Ino replied, still leaning on Naruto, who jumped a little into the air, causing Ino to lose her balance and stumble to the railing. Naruto, what was that for? Ino demanded, rubbing her side. Sorry, it's just that it is our turn and we get to go against Kiba, so it's a 2-on-2. Naruto said as he jumped down to the arena, followed by Kiba and a barking Akamaru. Hey, Naruto will win this one, Shikamaru said, leaning against the railing. Well, we all knew that, Ino said confidently. Do not underestimate Kiba. He has been training constantly after seeing Naruto's show of power in the forest, Shino said monotonously. Wow, Shino, that's the most I ever heard you talk, Ino said, surprised. I say what needs to be said. Well, what do you think of the match? Quote, I guess it doesn't need saying, Shikamaru added with a chuckle. Ready to lose, dog boy? Naruto mocked. Only if you and your dragon are. We'll see. Begin. Hayate yelled. Suga. Kiba cried and charged Naruto and Draco, who both dodged to either sides of the attack. The spiraling mass stopped as Kiba landed on the ground and attacked with another Suga that Draco flew over and Naruto rolled away from. Hey Naruto, I could do this all day, but we need to find a way to stop him. I know, Naruto said as he avoided another attack. Well, everything I can think of will wind up hurting him really badly, Naruto yelled over the sound of Kiba digging through the ground on his missed attack. Swords? Maybe, but I don't think we will even need them. Draco snapped his maw in annoyance and flexed his claws. Well, I can do one thing, but I wanted to save it, remember? Yay. Don't use that yet, that is a trump card, even Sensei doesn't know about that. Well, he might, Naruto said, chuckling as he dodged another attack. Up next to the Hokage, Robert was chuckling. To think I wouldn't find out, ha ha ha. What do you mean he might? Draco snapped back safely from his position in the air. You know this isn't the best time to talk about this. Fine, let's try a bit of fire. Fire style grand fireball. The ball flew toward